Welcome to Conversations with Epiphany. Let's talk, the show where we dive deep into the essence of what makes our guests uniquely themselves. Join as we uncover the stories, experiences, and moments that shape their lives. From the triumphs to the trials, we're here to explore it all. Let's get talking and discover the heart of every story.
Oh, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Epiphany. Today I have the pleasure of talking to Casey Webb. She is an entrepreneur and everything that you could think of when it comes to marketing and business agency. Thank you for joining me today, Casey.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. My pronunciation is actually Cassie. I just want to clear.
Yes.
Yeah, no worries. People see the spelling and call me Casey a lot, so
Right.
no problem at all. But I appreciate you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. So first and foremost, what inspired you to start your own marketing agency?
I honestly was tired of working for my previous boss. So I realized that I could make a bigger impact with my own, hand on the needle, basically. And so I decided to do the freelance, and I'm very blessed in that I'm 28, but I've spent almost my entire adult life being an entrepreneur. And so taking the leap to be an agency owner wasn't that far-fetched. So I was very glad to have that experience.
Right. That's really good to take that leap. Sometimes it takes that one boss or that one work environment where you're like, okay, let me step out and do this. As a Black female entrepreneur, have you encountered any challenges in the marketing industry, and how do you overcome them?
Yes. So I would say I think the biggest one is working with men, to be very honest. I tend to get taken advantage of a lot. Like, I'm a person who leads with giving strategy because I don't believe in gatekeeping. And so there's a lot of conversations I think that I have that are high level that I take people at their word, and I expect them, to handshake deal and do the things. And then the deal never happens. And then I feel like I've given too much. So that's been something I've had to kind of counteract with some other people, I think, who are in my same space, who don't experience that. I know being a woman, we kind of already set up for it. But being a Black woman, it seems like, especially in my area here in Temecula, it really does set me up, unfortunately, to be in that space more often than not with some folks. So I've just had to lean more into my community and make sure that I'm fortifying myself with people who deserve my time and effort.
Right. That is so true. And the deserving part, that is so true, definitely. What sets your agency apart from other marketing agencies, especially in terms of serving small businesses?
I love that. So I would say my flexibility. So I love to make sure that I'm working with everyone's budget, whether you're someone who, can only afford a $50 session with me, or you're someone who, wants to do a full-fledged, $1,500 plus package. I work with everyone, and I believe in helping those who help others significantly. So a lot of times I donate my time to nonprofits and other people who are in that kind of space who are helping others. And I just like to make sure I treat everyone as an individual and not as just a dollar sign. And I think that as an agency owner, we get told so much, like, if you're going to scale to 6 figures a year, you've got to charge more, do less, and niche down. I work with every industry. I charge what I want, and I'm really happy doing it. And this year I'm on track to do, 6 figures in my agency plus. So I'm really excited to just continue to live in my truth and my alignment of how I want to run my agency, and get to call in the clients who understand that and who want to be a part of something where they feel seen. Because so many people just don't treat you that way. They treat you as just a number, and, you come in and you're out.
Right. That's so true. And so how do you define affordable marketing strategies, and why do you believe they are important to small businesses?
So many business owners right now, whether you're a small business or you're an established business, there are, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but there are multiple wineries here where I live in Temecula that are for sale. There are other ones that are really close to that because they have not invested in a marketing budget. And so I have found even offering my affordability sessions for someone who's a winery owner, right, who should be paying me thousands of dollars. They need those steps still. They need a phased approach. So for me, affordability looks like it's across the board. It's not just for people who are small businesses, your business could be doing $1 million, but you still can't afford a marketing campaign because, you know, your strategy is messed up. So that's really the difference, I think, for me, is I work with everyone in every industry, and I don't take things at face value and say, well, you should be able to pay this because of this. I don't
Right.
like to be in your pockets. And so
Mhm.
I like to make sure that, you know, I'm just treating people, like I said, like as individuals, and that they've got, you know, a business that I believe in. That's a big part of my partnerships.
Exactly. That's very important. And what makes a marketing campaign successful, in your opinion?
I love that. I would say it's different for every client, right? So some clients, you know, they have quantifiable metrics, like they've got products and now their products are sold out and it's a
Mhm.
good launch.
Right.
I have a med spa client here locally who had a grand opening
Mhm.
and we did over 6 figures in just a few hours. That's
Wow.
a successful marketing campaign for their event. So
Mhm.
there's different metrics for different people, and I like to just be clear and upfront with my clients about what does success look like for you, and
Mhm.
then let's be honest about how we can get there, right? Let's take a phased approach. You know, you can pay me thousands of dollars tomorrow and it's still not going to change your marketing situation for the next 30 days, right? We're still going to need to incrementally build up your audience and your engagement and your content library. So for me, I'm big about growing with my clients, and I like
Mhm.
to make sure that we've got that approach where we can do 3 months. We start at a lower tier, we do another 3 months once your audience is better, once you've got, you know, marketing budget money.
Mhm.
I like to make sure that people are getting their ROI. That's really important to me.
Mhm. Okay, yes. And what, like you said, what could make, a marketing campaign successful? What are common mistakes, marketing mistakes, that, a lot of companies do, and how to avoid them when it comes to marketing their business?
Ooh, the biggest one I'm seeing lately is people running paid ads
Mm,
with no text on the advertisement.
mm,
So, what are you expecting people to do? What do you know, what's the end game for someone who's watching this? You
right.
might be enjoying your video or post, but what is the person who's on the other side of the screen supposed to get from it?
Right.
That's pretty unclear for a lot of people. So, that's my biggest thing. And then the second one I would say is not having your profile ready to receive those people, right? So no matter where you're campaigning from, not having a place for them to land where it converts is a problem. Whether that's your website, your Instagram, and you don't have a, you know, optimized bio. Sorry, my dogs are having too much fun. You know, you don't have an optimized bio where you could be doing more, you know, with less effort if you just told people what you did and where you were located and how to contact you. So
Right.
I think those are the biggest mistakes, is like not telling people why they should be watching this, what they're supposed to be
Mhm.
getting out of it, and then not having a place to convert them on when they actually say, okay, this is something I'm interested in.
Right. So kind of like the who, what, why about your business essentially is, very, important.
Yes.
That's very true. So in your experience, what are the most effective and budget-friendly marketing tools or platforms for small businesses?
I would say, I'm so sorry. One
You-
second. I think someone is like hitting something outside or something, so my dogs are just like over it. It's off my life.
Yes.
Can you give me just 5 seconds? I'm gonna go shut the door.
No, no, fine. Yeah.
They-
Mhm.
All right, we're back.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, everyone, there's someone's like hammering something outside. I'm like, y'all picked the wrong day for this.
No problem.
Okay, perfect. So, what question were we at? My apologies, I got us off
No,
track.
you're fine. In your experience, what are the most effective and budget-friendly marketing tools or platforms for businesses?
Oh, I love this. So, Threads is my new favorite. If you're not on Threads, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, it is a huge opportunity to connect with, you know, people who you want to have in community with you, whether you're a business owner and you're needing like that sisterhood, or people in your niche and your industry to pour that motivation into you and to let you know you're on the right track,
Right.
or finding clients who want to work with you.
Mhm.
My music artist clients have been finding the most success on there. One of my clients, Natalice Ruby, she is an Afro Latina singer, and she has 10x her previous metrics for her last single that she released in the previous years than we did this year using Threads. And it's been just so amazing to see someone like her who is a Black woman trying to pioneer in a space that says you don't belong here, and being able to leverage a free platform to do just that and not have to spend money on ads and not have to, work an extra job, and can put more time and more effort and can invest into like her instrumentals for the album and things like that. So I think that's my biggest one this year, is to use Threads and stop using so many paid ads. Let's use the organic channels first. Let's post better content. Let's have a content strategy. Let's use other platforms. Let's try YouTube. Let's try TikTok if we're not on there. Let's try Facebook if we're not on there. So that's my biggest thing, is try a different platform. If it's not working somewhere, try somewhere else. They're all free.
Exactly. Like you said, social media is booming, just, waiting for it's a huge business, social media is. So that's very important. What advice would you give other women, particularly Black women, who are interested in starting their own business?
Be unapologetically yourself. Do your business how you want to do it. Okay. There is no right or wrong way to do things, unless you're overcharging people just for the sake of overcharging them without telling them it's high quality, or it's, there's a reason why it's sustainably, sourced or something. There has to be a why behind an upgraded cost. But beyond that, do you? There are so many people out here doing the most outrageous things and getting paid for it. So we as Black women need to be less afraid to take up space and say, this is what I want to do with my time. Whether that's 2 hours a week and you sell art on Etsy, or it's 10 hours a week and you pick up a camera and now you're a local photographer for nonprofit events. And I speak to that of myself. I picked up a camera, and it wasn't for me to become a photographer, but it was for me to just fill a gap in my community, and to understand that now I can offer free and affordable sessions for all the women in my community, especially Black women. I love to be able to get them good headshots, to get them good product shots, social media footage. So for me, it's really start strong within your foundation of who you are, and then call in those people who align with that and build a sisterhood. And you can't do it alone. And there's so many Black women out here who have been told otherwise, right? We're told our whole lives to be the strong Black woman. It's okay to do that, but have other people who can, pour into your cup and let you lean on their shoulder and, pick you up when you're down, because entrepreneurship is hard. It's not puppies and rainbows. Like, it is very tough to not only have a successful business, but you're now working 24/7. So just make sure that you do it incrementally.
Yes, that's so true. And like I always said, definitely you want to have a team for your dream. And I believe, like people will be surrounding you for the dream that you have. So I believe that's very true. How do you balance running a business and managing client relationships?
I will say I could be better at communicating. I am a millennial on the Gen Z, cusp. And so I think a lot of us are just very much, if it's not urgent, it's not right now. And that's the way that I live life. And so I have to be very clear with my clients sometimes about, hey, this doesn't need a 24-hour response. Okay. It doesn't even actually need a response for me to just say, okay, I received this. Like, especially if I sent you the email first. So that's been my new thing, is as I work with different clients, I work with higher paying clients. I'm more amenable to do those things. But when I'm doing something that's already affordable, that I'm already making time for, I'm less willing to, be super pliable and, hey, I need a response to this right away when it's not urgent. I'm cool prioritizing things because I definitely preview them to make sure that they're not, and I, flag priorities. But I'm doing a lot, and I have 2 autoimmune disorders. And so I've been more focused this year on making sure I scale sustainably for myself and not burn myself out. So if I don't have capacity to respond to you and it takes me 3 days to say, here's whatever, then that's how the conversation goes. So I think that we all have our own nuances, right? And that's why I say, be you. My
Right.
clients know that about me. And I am pretty upfront about that when I sign them on of like, hey, I have
Right.
ADHD. I have 2 autoimmune disorders.
Right.
I get to things when I get to them.
Right.
And if that's okay with you, because I do high level work, I do, excellence, I get results. You're probably saving money by working with me, right? You got to have a trade off somewhere.
Exactly.
And I had my life coach, Ree, tell me this. She was like, Cass, you do what you want. It's your business. If you don't want to start work before 10 a.m. every day, then don't.
Yeah.
She said, your clients can wait. If you don't want to respond to someone for 4 days, then don't.
Right.
If they know that you're going to respond when you respond and it's getting taken care of and it's not urgent, then they can wait. And that was life-changing for me as a Black woman to be given permission to not only just say no, but to just not say anything. And I love that.
Yes, I love that. That's really good. That's so true. I like that. That's really good advice. What have been some of your most rewarding aspects of owning a business that focuses on supporting small businesses?
I love this. I have met so many people for a second time that I went to high school with.
Right.
And I live here. I'm actually at my parents' house right now, dog sitting for them. That's why there's so much chaos happening next to me. But they've lived in the same house for over 20 years. I grew up here. And so I know a lot of people who are in the same area. And so I have a physical therapist client, Dr. Richie, who takes care of my body. And I've been able to help him scale to where he wanted to get this year. He has his own practice now. He was working under someone else when we started working together. So it's the little wins, like getting to experience multiple decades with my friends.
Right.
I've got other friends who I just saw 2 weeks ago at a day party wellness event that we're putting together here in the community. And I get to see 3 of them at the same time, all men. They were football players. One of them has his own sports marketing agency now. One of them is a DJ. They are just all fantastic. One has a clothing company. So getting to still have them be close and say, hey, we get to grow up and do this together is huge.
Yes.
Separate from like the local side of things,
Right.
I just love being able to help a small business get better marketing, to be honest with you. Like I've had over 100 clients now that I do consulting and a lot of more strategy work. But I've had in my career, I've been in marketing for 8 years.
Right.
I've had probably about 40 of those, I say, were social media specifically clients. And it's just really cool to be able to hear, hey, you posted this and this was the result. And I've had clients that have been with me, my full 2 years of owning my own agency. And I've, successfully coached clients from my previous agency that were, in the midst. So it's really nice to just reaffirm that what I'm doing is working. And I can still help the smallest person who's the smallest,
Exactly.
It all balances.
Right. That's perfect. That's beautiful. Like you said, it's a whole community. So I think that's very beautiful. Looking forward, what are your goals for growing your agency and how do you plan to continue empowering small businesses through affordable marketing?
I love that. So this year is $1 million year for me. I am scaling my agency heavily rolling into the summer. I'm getting deeper into consulting work this year, specifically in the wine industry. So you're going to see your girl out in Napa. I'm going to be in Spain. I'm going to be in France very soon here, helping them. Have you seen Emily in Paris?
I've heard about it, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But yes, okay.
So the concept is like she worked for a marketing agency here in the United States and then went to France to help be the liaison of like understanding the American market for the French division, right? So for me, I want to be Cassie in Spain, okay, for the wine industry. To connect the dots of the people who are in America who want to experience the real wines. Like people here are trying to grow Bordeaux wines when they can just taste them from France, but they don't, there's no connection to get them here. So that's where I'm like, okay, this is where we, really scale. And then I'm hiring this year. So I just hired an account executive, Taylor, who's another Black woman who has her own agency, who wants to experience the traditional agency life, like being an account exec over client accounts and what that looks like on the admin side. So for me, it's just a big putting the ladder back down year. Like I spent 2 years in an agency and I want to tell her all the knowledge I've learned, plus the knowledge of me as an agency owner, so she
Right.
can surpass me.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
goal. Yes.
That is so cool. Wow. That is going to, I'm looking forward to seeing that doing big things from your agency. How do you incorporate your values into your work, and how does that resonate with your clients that you serve?
I almost exclusively help Black entrepreneurs
Mhm.
proudly and have for the entire time I've owned my agency.
Yeah.
I do have clients who are of other backgrounds,
Mhm.
and they're very much aware that I help Black entrepreneurs, and that's what I'm focused on. That's my niche, right? Everyone gets to choose a niche. Why don't I get to choose to help Black entrepreneurs?
Right.
And I've talked to my dad about it enough that I'm going to throw him under the bus a little bit in this moment. Um, he still to this day asks me, Cass, why do you only help Black entrepreneurs? Aren't you, closing yourself off from so much more money and so many other things? And I
Mhm.
have to keep telling him that the way marketing works now,
Mhm.
everyone has a niche. So if people are allowed to speak to the Latina community, they could speak to the Asian community. Why can I not call out to the Black entrepreneurs? Why is it that when we as Black people always
Mhm.
choose to finally dive into our communities and say we're rooting here, then it
Right.
becomes a problem, even from each other? I've had other Black people tell me the same thing. And I'm like, that's not how the world works. And I
Mhm.
continue to prove them wrong by having other ethnicities. I've got my highest paying client is a white man,
Mhm.
and the second highest is an Asian man. And they're
Right.
in completely different industries you wouldn't even guess. So for me, it's not just about, and my third is a Black man, I will say. So let me just preface that like we've got all of the people covered.
Right.
And it's not just my Black entrepreneurs that are paying me, a little
Right.
bit. I want to make that clear. It's
Yes.
very much, I care about diversity
Right.
and equity and inclusion before they were an acronym.
Yes.
And I worked in healthcare marketing before this,
Mhm.
in diversity marketing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just
Right.
continues across the board. I saw
Yeah.
my people getting targeted with ads, but not
Mhm.
giving the life-saving treatment, not
Mhm.
given the information to get it. They didn't care about giving us the information. They just wanted you to know that it existed and that it could save your life.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm going to keep being the savior, right? That I know exists in these gaps, and try and find the other people in the world who understand that too. And I've done that successfully. So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful. So like
That's
that's my morals and my values is very much
right.
diversity and very like inclusion. I'm huge about, even in the wine industry,
Right.
having non-alcoholic options
Right.
aside from just the monetary side.
Right.
It just makes sense to
It
just
does.
be inclusive. You
Right.
make more money and you get more people, and then everyone feels better about your brand or whatever they're doing. Like
That's so
when you
true.
can sit or stand somewhere, don't you feel better when you walk in the place?
So much so true. That's so very true. Yes. So I thank you, Casey, for joining me today and always being about your business. So until then, we'll see you next time, and I hope you guys have a good day.